Skype and bringing a guy who can tell us more about Mike D'Antoni and how he fared in LA with the Lakers and why he fared the way he did. Let's talk with Mike Bresnahan. He is the Lakers beat writer for the LA Times, covers the NBA, covers the finals this week. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys.
And I know you wanted us to call you and talk about Mike D'Antoni on the
gonna
day that the NBA finals are starting.
We'll
Let's
ask a few
talk. Let's
questions
get
about
back
D'Antoni.
to. Let's make that.
Let's start with D'Antoni. We're talking about D'Antoni. Mike,
I'm sorry,
we'll
Mike.
talk D'Antoni and then we'll talk NBA Finals. Is that okay?
Hey, if I have to demonstrate my alleged versatility, no problem.
Okay. Tell us about Mike D'Antoni when he was coaching the LA Lakers, because there are people out there who don't like the choice of D'Antoni, if in fact that is the choice, because of how he operated in LA, because of how he fared with the New York Knicks. What's the fair assessment of what Mike D'Antoni did in LA with the Lakers?
You know, I got to be honest, guys. He was kind of in trouble from the start simply because his name was not Phil Jackson. And Laker fans wanted Phil to come back and be their savior after, a couple of listless years, I guess, by Mike Brown as the coach. And when Phil didn't come back, when Brown was fired only a handful of games into the season, they were kind of like, D'Antoni, he's not Phil. Why do we have him? So he was already behind the eight ball a little bit. And to be honest, it was not a D'Antoni-friendly roster. He needs young, fun guys, lots of three-point shooters, lots of speed. Instead, he had Steve Nash, close to 40 years old, and also an aging and suddenly injury-prone Kobe Bryant. So not a real good roster for a Mike D'Antoni type of team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the players really didn't get along with him, if I remember correctly, though. Didn't he have issues with Kobe Bryant and some others that he wasn't really player-friendly for the Lakers? You were talking about it?
Yeah, Dwight was not a big fan of his offense. Obviously, Dwight wanted more stuff down low, even though no one's going to compare Dwight's post game to Kareem or even Shaq or anything like that. But Dwight definitely did not like the run and gun style that Mike was trying to implement. And Kobe and Mike, they were okay, not great, not certainly like what Kobe and Phil were in the 2000s as they were winning championships together. So yeah, a little bit of, I don't want to say tension, but a little bit of disconnect from Mike and a couple of key Lakers, also leading to his departure from the franchise.
Speaking of the Lakers, since he's going to bounce around and we're going
happy.
You're going to utilize all of his well-rounded ability to talk about pro basketball. I'm going to ask you about the World Series coming up too in baseball. But do you think Kevin Love's announcement the other day would indicate that there's not a chance he's going to come at least this year to the Lakers? It seems to me, just to say, that Kevin's going to hold off a year when the TV money starts to roll in even bigger than it is now, and that he's going to maybe sign a one-year deal with Cleveland, and the Lakers might take a look at him 2 years from now. But there was a lot of discussion about that Kevin Love might opt out and go to the Lakers.
Boy, it sure seems like he's going to stay in Cleveland, Woody. I mean, first of all, he's going to make about 17 or 18 million next season. Like you said, the big contract kicking in a couple of years from now. And he's been pretty steady about it. When the Lakers were in Cleveland a few months ago for a regular season game, Kevin was asked about maybe going to the Lakers, and he keeps saying no. It's not going to happen this year. So I would say there's a very small percentage chance that he ends up with the Lakers next season. It's got to be under 5% at about this point, and even that might be a little high.
Let's roll into tonight's game. Is that okay that we can do that?
Go, have a party.
Because we've been waiting for the NBA Finals to start for like 6.5 weeks. I think I'm tired of talking about.
I'm tired of talking about it. Frankly, it's been a week of nothing.
Well,
but go ahead. That's why we have Mike on.
That would make your TV guy. It should make you happy if you can come up with, and he's going to help us come up with a different approach to this series rather than who's going to guard LeBron with three guys. Okay, is Kyrie Irving going to be up there? Okay, who's he going to guard? So what is the best angle that you're looking at that nobody's paying attention to?
Woody had a story in today's Los Angeles Times kind of talking about the fact that there's no villains in this championship round. I mean, LeBron made peace with the Cleveland fans, obviously, by going back home after 4 years in Miami. So people still dislike LeBron, but it's not the abject hatred that we've seen the last several years. There's no Kobe to boo or scream down upon. Let's be honest, he hasn't been to the finals since 2010. Plenty of Dwight haters out there, a lot of them from the LA zip codes, and he's done, obviously. So there's really no villains. I think the real interesting thing is going to be the only drama for the series will be on the court. You have two good teams. They seem to respect each other. Who's going to hit the last second shot, Steph Curry or LeBron? Are the Warriors going to continue to average about 11 or 12 threes a game? Is LeBron going to keep up his ridiculous stats? What is he averaging? 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists in the playoffs so far? I mean, it reminds me a lot of you, Woody, when you were playing high school, to be honest. But what's going to happen on the court? It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I never gave it up when I was playing high school. But you said there's not a villain. I think there could be possibly a villain once the series starts. And he plays for Cleveland. And when you said the question is going to be who hits the last second shot, my question is, who is he going to hit? And I'm not going. And Cleveland has a couple of guys that could be villainous. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick Perkins, he's not playing a lot these days. He's more of an enforcer. God, I think he totaled only about 10 or 15 minutes in the entire 4-game Eastern Finals. So, there's just not a lot of people who are jumping up to be villains. J.R. Smith, obviously a former Denver player, if I remember correctly. He's always liable to get a little angry and throw a few elbows, but just not a lot of bad reputation guys going to the series. And there's no bad blood. There's no Celtics. There's no Lakers. There's no Spurs to complain about for being so good but so boring. It's kind of like, the Heat are dead. They're a non-entity. I think people are really curious and eager to see if it's going to be Cleveland, who has never won a championship, or Golden State, not winning one in 40 years.
I just hope we don't get to that point where it's like Isaiah and Magic kissing. It's
kind of heading that direction. These teams have been really friendly. Yesterday during the game before, the day before the media day, I should say, Steph Curry thanking LeBron for taking him aside when Steph was only a rookie and he was frustrated. And LeBron said, hey, the only thing you control is you. Just go at your own pace. You're going to be fine. You're going to be very good in this league. And, he's basically thanking LeBron the day before the finals begin. No animosity whatsoever. But again, Woody, so far, things can happen on the court. We'll have to see.
Hey, this portion of the big stuff presented by the Celtic Tavern. We'll tell you about the Celtic in just a second. Yeah, Mike, going back to your article for a second, the no haters article. There's nothing to hate about this series article in the LA Times. What I took from it was that we don't need a villain or two or three. We're at a point now where we just want to see good basketball, and that's what we're anticipating, isn't it? Just good, fun, fast-paced, entertaining basketball.
Yeah, who doesn't like the Warriors' style of play? I mean, they score 150 points a night. They hit all these threes. I mean, Steph Curry has already hammered Reggie Miller's three-point record for a playoff season. And they still have 4 to 7 games left. They're such a fun team to watch. Their fan base is definitely top 3 or 4 in the league. You can sense the excitement. I was out here for the West Finals last week, and everyone's really eager to see the Warriors play. And again, Cleveland, also kind of a feel-good story. LeBron James came home, the wayward son, after 4 years away from town. He's back. So I think there's a genuine curiosity, not just about Curry versus LeBron, but who gets it? Who finally gets to end all these years of angst, if not anger, at certain points in each franchise, Cleveland or Golden State?
Les has brought up this question during this respite that we've had for the last 6 weeks, but who do you think is going to be an important guy in this series that could pop up, as we saw last year, and become a most valuable player that is not the obvious choice? I mean, who do you think is going to be the most important other person in the series?
I think a lot of eyes have to be on Klay Thompson. He obviously suffered a concussion in the last game of the West Finals. He's had a week to recover, so I think he's going to be fine. Very good player, let's face it, all-star caliber, but he gets overlooked a little bit by Steph. And why not? I mean, Steph sets all these records, scores 30 points, can throw out 8 to 10 assists on any given night. But I think Klay Thompson, a lot of attention will shift on him. He's the type of guy, by the way, that you have to look at his first 6 or 7 shots in every game. If he's 4 for 6, 5 for 7, he will have a good game. If he's 2 for 7, 2 for 6, he tends to kind of have difficulty coming out of an early hole. So very important for Klay Thompson to have a good series, and B, good first quarters in each of these games.
Well, shooters are streaky, and you're talking about, it reminds me of my golf game. If I go out and I make 7, 8 on the first 2 holes, I know I'm in deep trouble. But if you birdie the first hole, he seems to have that kind of aptitude, altitude, attitude that where if he comes out and he is hot, he keeps it going. But one thing about shooters is you don't stop shooting, and he certainly won't stop shooting if he comes out poorly.
Hey, Mike, before we let you go, and our guest is Mike Bresnahan of the LA Times, I want to ask you about the draft coming up June 25th.
Sure.
The Lakers are one of the few teams ahead of the Nuggets. The Lakers are picking at number 2, correct?
Yes.
Lakers are at number 2. They're going to get a great player if they keep the pick. There is talk that they might be looking to deal it. What are you hearing about the Lakers pick? And you think they might be interested in doing something with the Nuggets if the Nuggets want to give them a point guard in Ty Lawson, and we know the Lakers need a point guard?
You know, the Lakers got a little lucky towards the end of last season. The player who was drafted 46th overall in the draft last summer, Jordan Clarkson, really started to show a little something at point guard. He's either answering for the future, too early to tell. He had 3 really good months. You can't say that he's going to be a top 10 point guard at this point. I do not see them going after Ty Lawson. And right now, I do not see them dealing this pick. By the way, what a lucky stroke for them. Draft night, had they dropped 2 spots in the draft, they would have lost the pick as per terms of the Steve Nash trade back in 2012. Instead, they climbed 2 spots from 4 to 2, guaranteed one of the 7-footers. This city needs a little excitement. So unless someone offers them Kevin Durant or something crazy like that, and I just don't see the Lakers having the players to package along with this draft pick to make it enticing for a player like a Kevin Durant. I see them holding on to the pick, taking whichever 7-footer falls their direction, Jahlil Okafor or Karl Anthony Towns.
Once again, Les, in his ongoing efforts to get rid of Ty Lawson, can't find anybody in the world that wants Ty Lawson. In addition to reading you in the Los Angeles Times, what's your Twitter handle? How can people keep up with you? I assume you'll be tweeting just magnificent prose along with writing it during the course of the series.
Sure, Mike.Bresnahan, and every day for the next week, 2 weeks, however long we're in the finals, covering it, LATimes.com/sports.
Yeah, and for people who want to follow him on Twitter, it's spelled exactly as he just made it sound.
Mike, thanks for your time, man.
All right, guys, thanks for having me on.
All right, Mike Bresnahan
Nice
of the
run,
LA
too.
Times.